Hi guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have a message for you today, and I'm going to do oracle cards as well today. So I'm just going to get started. Yesterday, just a few residual messages. I was actually repairing things the past day or two, so that might be some energy of needing to repair things, whether it be some, sewing or something else. Just that energy of repairing, going back and fixing things. And also yesterday, 3 nights came up. So 3 nights from the 27th would be the 30th, so there may be some significance to that. As well as when I watched the movie Girlfriend's Day last night, there was a show within the movie where the person performing kept saying, what he was doing, he called stoplight, and every time he would say, "Stop!" my phone would ding, and then he did it again and my phone dinged again. So somebody needs to know stop, okay? And it was called stoplight, but he would yell stop, so someone needs to stop. Okay, so we're on the 28th today. Today is 28 is the 2 of Wands, which is the Twin Flames energy. The day adds up to 4711, which is the 7 of Cups, which is that heaven in their eyes. It's after the 6 of Cups, where you find each other. Now you need things to do, so you find all the things that you love, but you don't want to spread yourself too thin, because then you aren't able to focus on the one thing or the 2 things that are really important to you. So today also 1 night came up. So yesterday 3 nights came up, and today 1 night came up. So, and 1 night would be to the 29th. So the 29th or 30th, there's some significant energy there. The 28th is the 1 energy of the masculine, and it's the 8 of inner strength on the inside, and then the 2 of the feminine energy on the outside, being a good mediator. The 47 is an 11, very spiritual, very visionary, of the 7 of spirituality on the inside, so very quiet and calm, spiritual. And then 4 being very responsible and somebody people see as someone they can count on the outside. Okay, so for the Divine Feminine today, the major arcana were the Star, the Higher Self, and Indigo, which are the Star, the High Priestess, and the Magician in the traditional deck. There were 6 wands for the Divine Feminine. That never happens. 6 wands, 1 pentacle, 1 cup. So there should have been a lot of action today, or more so than usual. The court cards were the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Wands, and the Knight of Pentacles. So 2 queens and a knight. And the number 6 came up, which is all about love and family. 6 wands and the number 6. They were separate from each other. And 611. It's another number. So from the codes today, they were kind of interesting. When I first looked at my codes, wasn't sure what to make of them. It has to do with surrendering and karmic completion, though, which is great energy for you guys. So I looked up the whole code that I got, and the entries that came up online were the 6 of Cups, which was interesting, as the RX, so the cure. The 6 of Cups is the innocence of the Twin Flames. And also in that entry that came up online was the Sirian Starseed Tarot, which was funny because there was nothing about Sirian Starseed in my entries, and that's the deck that I use for the main cards in this read. But in that entry it was the card of the day, the 6 of Cups, which is the children in the garden. Also a pentagram, chalice, 6 came up, which was something strange. It was just something on Amazon. A pewter skull, gothic button. So that didn't mean much to me. But then chalice dungeons came up, so all about the Holy Grail again. I keep getting these online games, and I don't know anything about gaming online. But both of them that I saw this week had the Holy Grail in them. So it's very important about the cups, the chalices, and the Holy Grails, because chalices was coming up a lot this week as well. But this game was called Chalice Dungeons, and the entry came up as Bloodborne, which was one of the dungeon is one of the locations in Bloodborne in the game. And in the game there's a total of 26 chalices, and 26 is the Page of Wands, which came up in the read today, in one of the reads. And it also talks about requiring the sage's wrist or the sage's hair. So that was very interesting. And sage wasn't an entry as part of the code, so that was cool. And then of course Abu Dhabi came up because Abu was in the entry. It was a place called the Sage 50 Training came up. It was a time training center. It had a whole bunch of different classes. I couldn't really grasp from just opening it real quick on what it was teaching, but it had random classes in there like accounting courses and green belt. So in that game that I brought up, Chalice Dungeons, just in the brief description I read, each dungeon has a labyrinth, has labyrinth-like layers with a boss at the end of each layer. So it's like peeling back our wound layers. You have to go, deeper and deeper. As soon as you think they're clear, there may be some other stuff that comes up that has to do with that, okay? So just know that all of your wounds are in layers. And then I was looking up specifically Abu, A-B-U, and N-I. And they both come up. They're both cartoon characters. Abu is the monkey from Aladdin. Okay. Who is described as Aladdin's best friend, his partner in crime, and that just came up for me yesterday, the day before, partners in crime. A confidant and mischievous thief with love for all things valuable. So this is like coming up as a partner to Aladdin. But then also Nai came up, which was someone who saved Nala's life in The Lion King. But Nai was a rogue lion. He had been rejected from his tribe, basically. But he was, he was good. But he was rogue because he'd been rejected, so he's going around doing whatever he wants, I guess. So, very interesting, these two characters and how they relate to each other. I also got as Abu is a volcano in Japan. So there may be some activity there. And also an Air Force uniform, the ABU. Also having to do with Nai, besides the character in The Lion King, it means you. So I was getting that, it was describing Nai as the divine feminine. She's the one who's been shunned from her tribe, basically, by the divine masculine. And by her family, everyone in her world who thinks, she's a little out of it, right? And Nai is also an element. It's a silvery, ductile metal that usually comes up with iron and magnesium. And it resists oxidation and corrosion. So those are some of the things that came up with the codes today. It was a little bit random. But let me know if anything comes up for you guys regarding that information. So first thing I got today for the Divine Feminine was toothpick, which ended up being funny later because I rarely use toothpicks. But I remembered that I have them in the closet today because I was going through my spices today and found the toothpicks, which I never notice in my kitchen. But it came up in my read this morning. So something specific about toothpicks, and also about, it's kind of like pick up sticks or trying to find a needle in a haystack, that kind of feeling. Finding the way to the light. This is for the Divine Feminine. And also then ABI came up, and for me, I used to do ABIs. It's a test on the legs to see how good the circulation is in the legs, and also that related to me, DVTs. So there may be someone out there, some of you Divine Feminines, who may not be doing too much activity, who need to maybe check your legs because you're having some pain. Don't let it go if it might be a DVT, that kind of thing. So that was coming up. And it's interesting too because yesterday the codes came up as very important for the Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine to take care of their legs, to work your legs out more, okay? So for the Divine Feminine, it was more specifically to like the feet and ankle area, but for the Divine Masculine, it was to work out their legs more. All right, so I was getting the dark dungeon is blocking abundance. It's like, it's really showing in the Divine Feminine's read, the masculine coming out of the dark dungeon, still having their abundance blocked because they need to connect more to the central sun, so their etheric realms. And I was getting, again, slightly to the left. So abundance has been slowed, expressing a lot of feelings back and forth. And then I got that number 3.5 again, the half of 7. That there's like 3.5 out of 8 cups left from the full moon to finish wound clearing. It's getting the King of Pentacles. Now, mind you, there's 3 kings didn't come up in the main court cards, but in the clarification cards, 3 kings came up all together, so it was very important. There was a King of Pentacles, a King of Cups, and a King of Wands all together as separate characters, because it was showing like a King of Pentacles, which is an earth. It can be an earth sign, or it can be just a very well-grounded, financially stable man who does very well for himself, right? But it was showing the King of Pentacles expressing a lot of feelings, or just physically going back and forth, or doing something very quickly. A lot of back and forth energy. But him gossiping about a King of Cups, or a water energy, or just a very loving man, who is watching over a King of Wands, who's a very passionate man, who's watching the lovers. Okay? So we have a King of Pentacles watching the King of Cups, who's watching the King of Wands, who's watching the lovers. There's a lot of masculine energy here going on, interfering in something, right? So the King of Cups, it shows that the King of Cups is almost in alignment with the King of Wands. So they're just slightly off from each other. But the King of Pentacles is hurting the King of Cups. But it's not affecting the King of Wands. It's over the King of Wands' head. So there's something the King of Pentacles is doing to the King of Cups that the King of Wands, it's over his head, or maybe he doesn't even care. And I mean, it gives me the feeling of like a father and 2 sons, where the one son's been very hurt by the father, and the other son's like, what are you talking about? You know, that kind of thing. So that's the energy I was getting. But this King of Pentacles, the King of Cups, and then over the King of Wands, over the lovers. Dreams, healing, and stardom explode as the Queen of Pentacles is divided due to gossip and third-party situation. And you might have felt some sexual energy coming in yesterday. I know I did last night. Religious factors came up, so there may be major differences between you and your Divine Masculine. They're coming up right now to be focused on. The High Priestess with the keys, or the secret, is now out in the open. But this High Priestess, or the Divine Feminine, is out in the open with their downloads and epiphanies about other people splitting up, and third parties, and energy exchanges. Then I heard a knocking sound, and I don't know where it came from. It sounded like it was inside my house. You know how like if something gets off balance in the washing machine and start making a loud noise, and I didn't have anything in the wash. But this big knocking sound happened, and I still don't know where it came from. It must have been next door, but it sounded like it was in my house. But that was at 10:22 this morning, if that means anything to anyone. The King of Pentacles, I was also picking up, could have Aquarian energy. It was like the 8 of Wands was equating to the Tower energy. So that quick back and forth, or expressing feelings, was equating to this Tower energy of epiphanies or some sudden event, okay? And then the Queen of Pentacles was being equated to that King of Cups who was hurt. And the King of Wands was being equated with gossip, that he may be gossip about he may be gossiping about lovers that have split up. So the High Priestess energy, out with the keys and codes, also could be mirroring rescue attempts of those unable to detach from their current partners. Domestic harmony came up, so it's very important for the Divine Feminine right now to make sure she's got domestic harmony, you know, calmness, everything in order, peace at home, just to have everything in balance, all aspects of your life organized, basically. So I was getting a Holy Grail offering to replace all the lesser emotions of an emperor out of control at home with an unhappy family. So there's some kind of offering from this emperor. And yeah, cups have been coming up a lot today and this week. So it's all about what you hold in that cup. It's about emotions and love and all that kind of thing, but also, is the cup empty or is it full? Is it half empty or half full? So it's all, again, the perspective. So the Knight of Pentacles proposes something to the twin who's hanging out, trying to see a new perspective in order to end the pain, okay? So he wants to climb out of this dungeon he's been in, this dungeon life with an unhappy family. The foundation of the read for the Divine Feminine is the Queen of Wands energy. I was getting Sagittarius specific energy. There's a King of Swords reversed, zeroing in on this Queen of Wands. And I was getting it as the King of Swords reversed. He's either not in his truth or lying to himself. It's like he's focusing on his karmic, trying to avoid his other feelings, okay? And also the religion was right next to that, the religious factors. So the differences between the Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine may be coming up in him choosing to focus in on his karmic at the moment. Centrally, what was coming up for the Divine Feminine is new passionate beginning after being unable to speak the truth at a workplace or some place that you frequent, could be a church or some kind of institution. Not being able to express your truth to a King of Pentacles reversed, and now there's a new love desperate to express all of a sudden. So the challenge for the Divine Feminine is the Queen of Cups energy of being, you know, wanting to nurture. Is that going to get in your way? Because it's coming up as the obstacle. So be careful that you're wanting to nurture and love, and that, you know, that usual heart-based space that the Divine Feminine initially comes from, that you don't allow that to overshadow being your authentic self and not allowing others to walk all over you, okay? Also, I was getting there could be some alcohol involved, or maybe someone's a shopaholic where they're shopping too much, because I was seeing a lot of financial drain. So it could be on alcohol or shopping. Someone who's, and I was getting specifically someone who's lost all the money. It was like whoever the Emperor is with right now is spending all their money. And maybe they chose someone over their Divine Feminine, some passion, maybe somebody who was a lot younger than them, and then all of a sudden, surprise, guess what else you get? And they'd spent all their money, basically. So the challenge is also for the Divine Feminine, emotional spending. Be careful you're not spending to make up for some kind of lack in your emotions. And also to spend on your Divine Masculine. When you're feeling passionate about someone you love, I'm sure a lot of the Divine Feminines out there, you know, automatically tend to want to spend money on them or just buy them things, that kind of thing. So now in the heart and head of the Divine Feminine, I'm getting like that away, okay? And it was pointing forward, and it was the Star card. So someone's directing you in the way to your dreams. I was getting the Queen of Wands plus passion, because the center of the read was the Ace of Wands. There's a whole lot of fire, passion energy, and I told you there was six wands in the read today. It's pointing to the King of Wands reunion. But I'm getting an Aquarian again. A lot of Aquarian energy with a dysfunctional family, that the spending is clear. They're spending the King of Pentacles money, who's being present but is impatient and losing their temper, looking back at their unhappy family, spending everything that he's worked so hard for. So there's some kind of complication there within the karmic dynamic. And it could be with the Divine Feminine as well, but I was getting it specific to this Queen of Wands energy. But it's getting kind of intermingled here with the Queen of Wands. It's like when you come in, as you come into union, you flip. Like the Queen of Wands, who's been the karmic the whole time, all of a sudden becomes the Divine Feminine because she becomes the sexual focus in the relationship. So the karmic, I was getting the karmic alone last night, while the Divine Masculine may have been visiting his Divine Feminine in the etheric realms, having some kind of reunion. So if you haven't felt your Divine Masculine in a while, this might have come up, where all of a sudden you're feeling your Divine Masculine, a lot of sexual energy coming in. You'll also may be going out, sitting at a table together, maybe a date, or maybe just a conversation. Getting your wish in some respect. And I was also getting someone inspecting butts for a living. and keeping others quiet about it. So if the Divine Masculine's coming in the etheric realms, you know, they're still wanting to keep quiet about everything. And so they're still obviously being sneaky about casual air sex, is what I call it. And also making themselves come off as a narcissist, because maybe nobody knows about it, but they know about it. They know they may be with someone and then being with their Divine Feminine at the same time. So soon the attention or sneakiness, there's someone coming clean about it. Okay, it's like the Divine Masculine's coming clean either to his karmic or to the Divine Feminine about this, about him knowing. The Divine Feminine is expressing their passions of unhappiness without having a family around. The Queen of Swords mourns her heartbreak and separation, so the Divine Feminine may be very much feeling the lack of presence of their Divine Masculine at the moment. Heart-to-heart conversations with coming up, and healing family issues for the Divine Feminine. So there's a need for heart-to-heart conversations, whether it's your Divine Masculine or family or friends or whoever it is, but just healing family issues, which always brings up healing your issues with your parents, which relate to all of us because we all have issues with our parents and our lineage. So, and it was very important also to bring up those last wounds that are coming up right now from the full moon. Around the Divine Feminine is the higher self, grounding loosely over the loss of things, integrating stillness and possible boredom right now, clearing blocks of wounds of nigh. So I was getting nigh, like the rogue lion, okay, who's been ousted by his clan, basically, with no new beginning recently, due to wounding blocks. So when blocks were coming up, it was coming up all about wounds as opposed to something other than wounds, like entities or something specific. But it's that wound of being shunned from the pack. Okay, so like the wolf who's a lone wolf because he's been shunned from the pack. Karmic completion came up, and surrender. So those of you in karmic energy, around the twins, because the twins shouldn't be in karmic energy anymore, but so those of you who have karmic energy around you, there's some completions going on, as well as surrender comes up for you again, to just surrender and let go. Give it all up to God. Longing for family stability, to comfort each other. The indigo energy, or the magician, came up as the solution to the issue. Surrounded by wounds, 5D sex energy exchanges with the Empress and Queen of Pentacles. And I was kind of getting the Empress was the Queen of Pentacles, left behind by the magician, who is now meditating out in the cold, but with his Divine Feminine at the same time in the 5D. The energies that were coming up were the major arcana: Aquarius, Aries, Virgo, and somewhat Pisces as well. And then Dungeon of Abundance came up to link to that code of the Chalice Dungeon. In the beginning of the read was literally coming up from the dungeon and it blocking abundance, because abundance was the card underneath the dungeon. And the abundance being shown as the chalice or the Holy Grail. The Queen of Wands expresses passion in a higher self, proposing a passionate new beginning without the Queen of Cups, with attention on healing wounds, with magic and wisdom. So the karmic may be proposing this to the Divine Masculine, that she's going to change, or she's in her higher self now, and maybe she is, maybe she's not, maybe she's pretending to be, but maybe trying to get back with a Divine Masculine that they've broken up with, that kind of thing. But it also could be a Divine Feminine proposing this in her sexual energy as the Queen of Wands. So then for the Divine Masculine, the major arcana that came up was the Lovers, Reflection, and Guidance. So that's the Lovers, Reflection is the Hermit energy, and Guidance is the Hierophant energy. There were 4 pentacles, 1 wand, 2 cups, and 1 sword. So this is pretty typical for the Divine Masculine, but usually they're more balanced. It's very heavy on money today, pentacles, and there's only 1 court card, the Queen of Pentacles. That's about the Divine Feminine energy. The Queen of Cups was also at the after card in the read, but it wasn't part of the main read. That's the after card. The numbers that came up for the Divine Masculine were 81, 88, 66, 68, and 4121. So for the Divine Masculine, to see the key of the Divine Feminine inside the Divine Masculine, that this is God, the Divine 9, basically, of wise reflection in order to balance and bring love. So it's like prompting the Divine Masculine to bring his Divine Feminine through him and reach out to her to connect, to ask for help. Because the combination of you coming together is God energy. Okay? It's bringing that third energy together to help others, to allow this manifestation of love. And then Bob Saget came up in the codes too. But also Saget is a hotel in Bordeaux. It's right near St. Michael's of Basilica in Bordeaux. And it was funny because when Bob Saget came up, you know, he's from Full House, so he's family-friendly actor, but also master of dirty jokes. So that was funny. And he's from Philadelphia, which is where I live in the suburbs of Philadelphia. So that was interesting. And it just happened to say in the header, because I didn't open it, that his father's name is Benjamin Saget, and he was born on 8/28, which is today, 1917. Okay? And I wondered if, and his mother came up as a hospital administrator, and her name seems familiar, so I'm wondering if I even know who she is. So, the number 7 in the codes came up individually, 7 and 6 and 68. 7 being God's love, 8 being wise reflection. But remember, Bob Saget in Full House, it was about a well-balanced family, right? A very loving family. And just needing to balance, to manifest love. Allow the feminine to come out within your masculine for the Divine Masculine. So for the Divine Masculine, and this was at 1201, the E-Tower, or the Divine Feminine's heart, opens to others after a slow start, aligning work and focusing. So maybe some of the Divine Masculine seeing the Divine Feminine is having trouble focusing on work, because inside her heart. But he's also seeing that he's inside her heart, but that others can't see that because he's not part of her life right now. It depends on who you are, okay? But the Page of Wands is coming up underneath the E-Tower, which is the Divine Feminine's heart. It's also about daydreaming and being still. It's really reaping your rewards, when you can take a breather. So I was getting that the Divine Masculine, seeing the Divine Feminine open up to a lot of other people now, like finally allowing other people in. And there may be some jealousy coming in where he wants her to himself. He doesn't want to share her heart. The Queen of Pentacles is out in the open, blocked from the Divine Masculine's work, where the invisible man makes magic and meditates with the Divine Feminine. So it's getting a weak lover coming up, or it could be a Leo, is also out gossiping about third party and losing their temper, as an Empress reversed, and this could be a soulmate. So someone's losing their temper. It could be the Divine Feminine as well, but it's a feminine energy, the karmic or the Divine Feminine, losing their temper about gossip. And then a new life with one who has been crying a lot, that he feels like he owes his love to. Feeling jealous, he gives his heartstrings to someone else at home. So there also could be, it could be both ways, sudden jealousy at home, that his heart belongs to the Divine Feminine. So whoever he's with is maybe feeling that energy. So it could be jealous coming up from both sides. So synchronicities was coming up, to pay attention to your synchronicities and your guidance. Exposure of sexual frustration is slowing the wheel to new life, holding back words. Okay? So Divine Masculine he's not saying what's on his mind, what he wants to say. Recently, feelings expressed about words that have been held back from the Divine Feminine's heart. Not speaking of sexual frustration is slowing him down, because if he is frustrated, he's like a steel door trap. He's not going to let anyone know what's going on with him. So expressing feelings of being left behind to give to others and be independently comfortable. So he feels like the Divine Feminine left him behind, and here she is all comfortable. Whereas in the beginning of the journey, the Divine Feminine's like, here I am crying every day, and he's out there laughing and enjoying and having sex with other people. And now the Divine Masculine is kind of getting a taste of that. Okay? So there's a bold move to detach emotionally from a marriage, or maybe a partnership or a business partnership, but that's something that's considered like a marriage. Centrally, a lover is patient while holding back passions at home, challenged by being in hermit mode, reflecting, alone time, feeling loss in possibly leaving a work situation. So the Divine Masculine may be leaving a work situation, or just not getting along at work with the people he has to work with, or it could have to do with their Divine Feminine having associated with his workplace, like the third party through work. Okay, and having left that third party behind. So the options for work and a passionate new life and rebirth are coming up for the Divine Masculine. Now working with possible crystal energy in a dungeon and outside. So it's getting the Divine Masculine working in like his man cave or his dungeon, but also a lot outside, maybe hiking a lot as well. But also 3T came up, so I don't know if someone has a 3-year-old, because that's like 3T is like a toddler size. The King of Wands up at night, drained. Trying to read what I wrote. I don't know. Anyway. The King of Wands is being shown as being up at night, drained, okay, because he's not sleeping. Losing money and independence in possibly a divorce situation, or a split from work, or a lie. Holding back thoughts of frustration and wanting a new life. He had a date, or a date in 5D, so it could be one or the other, with the Divine Feminine. Comforted by this Queen of Cups. Naked and conflicted, fighting feelings of rejection. Soon, the Divine Masculine feels like his Divine Feminine has abandoned him, even though she's right there in front of him. All he has to do is reach out for her, but he's being blind to it. The full moon gave him no options but to heal now that his conflicts are over. He is lightning and thunder, is what's coming up. Cracked open to connect and not work, but carrying burdens from the devil energy, or the shadow self. He needs to free himself. Separation was coming up, and also then true love. Separate from free self and separation came up together, and then true love. So there's definitely a rebirth going on here, where he's leaving the old situation to go into the new. Around him are the twins. He is called into his truth. The Divine Masculine needs to clear blocks about women with money, specifically the Queen of Pentacles, expressing his feelings and walking away. So he can't walk away when he doesn't agree. He also needs to let go of wounds of justice, which is a big one for the Divine Masculine. And the cards came up of love and manifestation. So very powerful. The King of Pentacles meets his match during the full moon, stealing energy to manipulate a Hermit or a Virgo energy to come out defenseless. So he knows how to manipulate the situation so his Divine Feminine is kind of defenseless to him, right? Especially when the sexual energy comes in. So he may be wanting to come out and ask to come out for a drink and a kiss that came up yesterday. That drink and a kiss, remember that. And Sag energy coming up as running from healing with the Queen of Cups. So some Divine Masculines may still be running from their Queen of Cups, not wanting to heal, feeling defeated and released from the King of Wands. The Emperor is back in control. So it just depends on which characters you identify with. The Divine Feminine heart, along with the Page of Wands beneath her, is basically married to her Divine Masculine, but in separation from her twin, or him from his children. There are passionate feelings of lovers, alone in loss, both separate in love, working to create practical balance so that they can come together and be loving again. Okay, so that's the information I got for today. Not a ton of downloads today, though, but very positive energy, very energetic energy. And I'm going to pull you your oracle cards, too. So this is from the Ascension deck. I just need a sip of water here. Okay. So for the organic, Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine, Twin Flames. What is the guidance for the organic, Divine Masculine, and Divine Feminine, Twin Flames? What is the guidance? The Moon, and the bottom is Kuan Yin. Okay, Kuan Yin is 43, and that is the Three of Cups energy, and that can be of gossip, but also can be of coming together. The affirmation is, I act from my divine feminine wisdom. Okay, so it's really about coming into your femininity, your sensuality. And 43 is that 7 of spirituality. It's the 3 of joy inside, radiating out through this sense of responsibility on the outside. And Kuan Yin's all about the inner child. Kuan Yin's the master of the 12th ray of unconditional love. She radiates vibrant, cerise pink light of divine feminine energy, love, and compassion. Kuan Yin is re-empowering women everywhere and bringing forward feminine wisdom in men. She is inviting you to develop your feminine qualities, including your healing abilities. Find ways to nurture and empower others and yourself. Give yourself permission to go with the flow and share with everyone for the highest good. This will subtly affect your stellar gateway chakra and build the Antakarana bridge to source. And the affirmation is, I act from my divine feminine wisdom. So the card that came out is the Moon. So we're still in those moon energies. It's number 11. And 11 is the Justice card, which is the wound that the Divine Masculine is struggling with right now. The Moon is the causal chakra of the universe and radiates divine feminine energies. So here we have 2 cards talking about feminine energies. So it's very strong and it's funny because we have so much wand energy, maybe it's pushing you into the feminine tomorrow. Call on it to cleanse your aura and energize you. Remember, the influence of the celestial body is always there, whether you can see it or not. When you're offered this card, you're called on to practice your feminine qualities of love, wisdom, compassion, intuition, inclusiveness, discernment, and oneness. Your guidance is to go within and seek answers from your huge font of wisdom. The Moon will bring you clarity so that you can flow with the current of ascension. And the affirmation is, I listen to my divine feminine wisdom. So double message of your feminine wisdom. So, you know, practice your healing abilities. If you're not doing anything with your healing abilities right now, find people to practice on, you know, family and friends, even if you're not doing it professionally yet. So you build up your confidence. Okay, so this is from the Past Life deck. Past Life deck for the Organic Divine Masculine Divine Feminine Twin Flames. August 28, 2018 was the energy. Okay, we've got 2 here. And communal living. Okay, that's the underlying energy. Alright, so the 2 cards that came out are biblical and vows. Biblical I always see is like the 8 of Pentacles, where he's hard at work. Okay, and that's also an old template of, you know, you're only worthy and you're only a good person if you're working how many hours a day to make sure you support your family, right? Which is a template we're breaking. And then vows. Okay, and have you broken your vows? Vows of silence, vows of chastity, vows of whatever it is. You need to, with your intent, cut all cords to all people who are no longer for your highest good, as well as any connection to any vows, seals, promises, anything like that from this life or past lives. You don't have to promise to work yourself to the bone for the rest of your life. That's not what makes you worthy of life. Okay? Your love is what makes you worthy of life, because you are love. Don't tie yourself to limited thinking. Okay, so then that's what all the institutional, the establishment type things do. They teach us to be limited as opposed to limitless. Okay, because you are limitless. Whatever you can imagine is what you can have. Okay, so this is for Journey of Love. Journey of Love. Here. For the Organic Divine Masculine Divine Feminine Twin Flames. What is the advice? What is the advice? What is the advice? What's the advice? It's a little messy. What is the advice? What is the advice? Okay. We have intimacies at the bottom of the deck. Okay. And it looks to me like it's like when someone's first being handed their child. That's what it looks like to me. It's number 35. That's the underlying energy. 35 is the 9 of Wands. So it's all about your wounds. And isn't birth all about your wounds, right? Because you get that major wound when you get pushed out of the canal of rejection and then abandonment. The card that came out is Eruption of Light, which is number 11. So we have 2 11s. Okay, so 11's big energy today. And again, this is like a volcano erupting. I was talking about there's the volcano in Japan. So I wonder if there is any activity going over there. Okay, I'm going to read that to you. Number 11. It was very hot out today. I mean, more so than usual. Or maybe I was feeling it more so than usual. But I have to tell you, every time I go out on my deck when I'm lying out, I take a picture, you know, some webs where I show you on the post of my deck. There's some spider webs that I was getting some aura from. But I got a huge pink mass there. It's like there's energy hanging out right there. I have to show it to you again if I can. No, I can't pull it up. I downloaded my pictures, but there was, maybe I do still have it. Let me see. Before I read you number 11. Because it's really cool. Yeah, I do. This is today. Like literally, this is, I took out on my deck today. mean, check out that spot. Okay, and I can't see that with my naked eyes. So there's two pictures. This is the second one. Same thing. And that was today. And then, let's see if I had it from... Yeah, that's all I have available right now. But that's the third picture I've taken of that kind of energy, but I thought it was associated with the spider web, but that energy today was not the spider web. That was a big, even, circular aura. It was very magenta. So, number 11. Eruption of light. And how fitting my eruption of light off my deck. Okay, so your every prayer is a power-packed eruption of light beamed into the divine presence. Some pray with fear or doubt, as though the prayer is not doing much at all. Yet you understand that prayer is powerful, that it's divine action set in motion. Your power of divine prayer emerges from your heart and out through your throat, whether you speak or sing your prayer silently within your own mind or aloud for all the world to hear. Let your prayers be vocalized as feeling expressed to the divine in words or song if you choose. You have the power to heal at your fingertips and vocal cords. Through your voice, you can heal. Let your hands be joined in prayer position at your heart, and your mouth open, and let the breath of your spirit move through your throat, creating sound. As you speak it, so shall it be. This oracle holds a message for you. Your words have more power than you realize, and you have a special ability to heal with words, to bring light where it is needed, and to uplift through simple kindness spoken. You also have a message to bring. It might be an urge to write or speak on topics that are close to your heart. You may also simply have the need, at a soul level, to share from the heart with others when you are engaged in conversation. The oracle says your voice is part of your power, so do use it. And the poem simply states, life begins with love. To complete itself again, symmetry is born. Okay? So coming into alignment with yourself. Okay, aligning your own inner divine masculine feminine, your pi, so that you can then come into alignment with your twin. So just make sure you're keeping yourself in alignment with yourself first. Okay, was there anything else? I'm trying to remember. I guess not. Make sure you drink lots of water and be good to yourselves. Like I said, take it easy this time building up to the new moon. It's really important for you to ground, like I said yesterday, and to keep yourself stable and very centered in your heart space and clear up some of those last wounds. So really try to go into the etheric realms and get any messages that you can right now to keep that connection strong, but also you need to ground even more if you're going to be going visiting the etheric realms. So even more so ground when you do that. In addition to the grounding you need to do just every day to keep yourself stable. Make sure when you go out into crowds and that kind of stuff that you, clear and protect. Yeah. Okay. Make sure you get plenty of rest. Rise and be loved, guys. I'll talk to you soon.